It is 12 p.m. news on Sunsplash FM. I am Igbai Fabenita. And here are the top story news. State news. Oyembanji names government buildings after Fayose Fayemi Oni. Federal government news. Overshoots borrowing limit as new debt reaches 12.62 trillion naira. Business news. Nigerian tops Africa in petrol price surge. Sport news. UEFA calls emergency meeting over FIFA investment plans. US Senate confirms Clayton as Trump's intelligence chief. The Ekiti state government has directed allottees who have abandoned their plots in government residential estates across the state to commence development on or before August 30th, 2026, warning that failure to comply will result in revocation of the allocations and forfeiture of title to the government. The directive was contained in a statement issued in Ado-Ekiti by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Lands, Surveys and Geographic Information System, Prof. James Olaleye. Olaleye said the government's attention had been drawn to the activities of hoodlums around some government activities, posing security concerns for both residents and the government. Ekiti State Governor Mr. Biodun Oyembanji has named some newly constructed government buildings after former governors of the state as a mark of honor and recognition of their contributions to the development of the state. Those honored with the gesture are Chief Oyedele Fayose, Chief Segun Oni and Dr. Kayode Fayemi. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Media, Yinka Oyebode, disclosed this in a statement made available in Ado-Ekiti on Tuesday. Oyebode stated 2 of the buildings named after the immediate past governor, Dr. Fayemi, and the former governor, Chief Fayose, are scheduled for commissioning on Friday, July 31st, 2026 and Monday, August 3rd, 2026 respectively. Another building named after former governor Segun Oni is at an advanced stage of completion and is slated for commissioning in October. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde on Tuesday officially took delivery of his long-awaited 2 surveillance aircraft 1 year after he announced plans to acquire the security assets to strengthen intelligence gathering and enhance the state's security architecture. The governor, speaking shortly after the aircraft landed at the Ibadan airport in Ibadan, the state capital, described the development as a fulfillment of a strategic security initiative conceived to complement personnel on the ground across the state's vast territory. The arrival of the state surveillance aircraft is part of the broader strategy-led operations and complements ground security personnel across Oyo's expansive territory. The aircraft is expected to enhance real-time monitoring, aid search and rescue missions, and improve coordination among security agencies. Akwa Ibom State Governor Umo Eno has signed 14 executive bills into law, describing them as another major step towards strengthening governance, institutionalizing reforms, and expanding the gains of the Arise agenda. A statement issued by the Government House Media Unit in Uyo on Wednesday said the laws will provide a long-needed legal backing for strategic institutions, close policy gaps, and ensure continuity of programs designed to improve the welfare of the people. The news laws, according to the statement, are seeking the establishment of the Akwa Ibom State Geographical Information Service to modernize land administration and simplify land verification, acquisition, and transfer process. The Senior Citizen Center to institutionalize welfare programs for the elderly, the Hotels and Tourism Development Commission to regulate standards and drive tourism development, and the Ibom Broadcasting Corporation to strengthen public broadcasting and position the news station for commercial operations. The Northern Senators Forum on Wednesday condemned the recent killings in Benue and Kaduna states, describing the attacks as tragic and calling for intensified efforts to bring the perpetrators to justice. The forum also backed the federal government's latest security measures, including the planned expansion of the Nigerian army and the recruitment of additional personnel, saying the move will strengthen the country's response to growing security threats. The position was contained in a condolence message issued in Abuja by the forum's chairman, Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua. The statement followed separate attacks in the two states that claimed dozens of lives and displaced several families. The latest attacks add to growing security concerns across parts of northern and central Nigeria, where communities have continued to face recurring assaults by armed groups despite ongoing military operations. The federal government has repeatedly pledged to strengthen the country's security architecture through increased troop deployment, improved intelligence gathering, and enhanced collaboration among security agencies. The judgment by the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja, which set aside the June 15th judgment of the Federal High Court ordering the Independent National Electoral Commission to register the African Democratic Congress, Action Alliance, Action People's Party, according to the Zenith Labour Party, has sparked jubilation among opposition leaders. Vice President Atiku Abubakar's camp, the ADC National Chairman, David Mark, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke, Action Alliance Presidential Candidate Adekunle Omaje, and other stakeholders hailed the appellate court's verdict, describing it as a major victory for the constitutional democracy, the rule of law, and Nigeria's multi-party political system. The Court of Appeal ruled that the trial court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit seeking the deregistration of the ADC and others. According to the council, the judgment had reassured Nigerians that democratic institutions remain capable of protecting constitutional rights despite occasional judicial missteps. IPAC said it had consistently maintained that democracy could only thrive where constitutional provisions were respected and judicial decisions strictly reflected the law. The Independent National Electoral Commission has dismissed reports circulating on social media claiming it had revised the campaign timetable for the 2027 general elections. A graphic circulating online had claimed that the Commission released the official campaign timetable for the 2027 general election in line with the Electoral Act. The graphic claimed that campaigns for the Presidential and National Assembly elections would end on January 15, 2027 instead of January 14 as contained in the Commission's official timetable. Reacting to the development, the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Adedayo Oketola, told us online on Wednesday that the Commission had not issued any separate campaign timetable. According to the timetable, the Commission will issue the notice of election on February 13, 2026. The timetable also provides that campaigns for the Presidential and National Assembly elections will commence on August 19, 2026, while those for governorship and state assembly elections will begin on September 9, 2026. The federal government exceeded its 2024 borrowing target by 4.79 trillion naira after a wider than projected budget deficit forced it to raise significantly more financing than originally planned. The Budget Office of the Federation has disclosed. According to the latest fourth quarter and consolidated budget implementation report for 2024, the general government's new borrowing or 61.2%. The higher borrowing requirements followed a substantial revenue shortfall, which pursued the fiscal deficit to 13.51 trillion naira, well above the approved deficit of 9.18 trillion naira. Responding, the presidency, through the Special Advisor on Policy Communication, Daniel Bwala, defended the borrowing plan, saying it was targeted at critical infrastructure development. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Oyedele, recently faulted Nigerians, especially analysts and commentators, for attacking government borrowing without considering the purpose, cost and expected return on such debts. The Nigerian Customs Service has strengthened its commitment to coordinated border management, trade facilitation, and regional economic integration following a high-level benchmarking mission to the Beit-Bridge border post between Zimbabwe and South Africa. The mission brought together the Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, Director General of Cameroon Customs, Mr. Fongod Nuaga, Director General of Benin Customs, Mr. Ralph Abudua, Acting Commissioner of Customs and Excise in the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, Mrs. Lonto Nglovu, as well as the Chairman of Bergam Security Consultants and Supplies Limited, Alhaji Saleh Amadu. According to the joint communique signed by the participating customs administrations, the mission was conceived within the border continental effort to facilitate trade across West Africa and between West and Central Africa. The document identified the Semi-Kreke corridor linking Nigeria and the Benin Republic, as well as the Mfok-Efok corridor connecting Nigeria and Cameroon as strategic routes that stand to benefit significantly from the implementation of coordinated border management and one-step border post arrangements. The mission concluded with the signing of a joint communique committee in Nigeria, Cameroon and Benin to establish a territorial strategic steering committee to drive implementation of the recommendations arising from the visits. The three customs administrations also pledged to pursue harmonized procedures, digital interoperability, coordinated risk management systems, and sustained investment